Hi, I'm Aaron Wimmer, Product Manager for Clemco Industries. We're out here at Midwest Military Equipment and we're going to do a demo on our flex blasting system, and I'd like you to see what's going on.
My name's Joe Thatcher and I'm with Midwest Military Equipment out of Washington, Missouri. Clemco Industries was nice enough to bring out one of their flex water blasting systems. We've been in the market for a dustless blasting system or a WetBlast system for a while now. We're hoping that this machine can help up our productivity and overall production. What we do here is we buy, sell, and restore and refurbish ex-military trucks and equipment, and really looking forward to see what this machine has in store.
All right, so let's just take a few minutes and go through how the flex works. It's really broke down into three systems. So you've got your air system, you've got your blasting system, and then you've got your water system. So let's go ahead and just take it in those chunks. So first thing is your blast system. So you have a large air supply hose coming into it because you want to supply a large volume of air to keep up with the pot. So this is a 2.5-inch hose. Air comes into the system and goes through a moisture separator. This moisture separator pulls out any moisture in the system, comes down into a bowl, and then drains out the bottom. So if we follow this around here, you'll see the air. The next stop for the air is going to come around this elbow and go to this regulator. This regulator controls your blast pressure at the nozzle. So this regulator is adjusted up here, up or down. You know, usually you're going to be in that 100 psi range. If you're doing something delicate, you might be lower, 80. 60 psi. Okay. So as you get past here, you'll come to this valve. This is our Millennium valve. What this does is turns on and off the pot. So this valve's going to allow air to come into the vessel. If you look through the top here, there's what we call a pop-up valve in here. So this pop-up valve, as air comes into the vessel and your outlet valve over here closes, that pop-up valve is going to come up and seal the pressure vessel off and maintain pressure in the vessel. Okay. So over here we touched a little bit on the outlet valve, but that's the other component to the remote system. So as you let off the dead man, air is going to depressurize through this stream of piping here. You've got a couple things going on here. You've got an abrasive trap screen, so any media that comes out in that airstream is going to get caught in this trap. And it's always important to remove that screen twice a day and clean it out so you don't get a blockage here. That protects this valve. This is your outlet valve. So that shifts when you let your control handle off and allows your muffler to depressurize the machine. The next system that you've got, actually, let me come down here. Let's talk a little bit about your controls. So we talked about the air and how these valves shift. So when you press the dead man, this valve opens, allows air into the vessel. This valve closes, stops that air from leaking out of the vessel and maintains pressure. You also have a pneumatically operated metering valve down here. So there's two functions to this. The first function is you've got a manual knob here that sets the amount of media that comes out of the machine. And then you've got a pneumatic side that turns on and off that abrasive flow. So if you were out at the handle and you wanted to wash down or blow down, you just shut that abrasive off and you have that right there at the handle. Okay. This here is your choke valve. This allows air to come through to create an equal balance of pressure through the machine. So you always want to make sure that this choke valve's wide open when you're running. Let's say you get some wet media in there, something causes a blockage in there. You can go and close this choke valve off momentarily and it'll force that blockage through. Right. And then you can open it back up and it'll start blasting again. So that kind of covers the blast pot. Let's go around here and let's take a look at the water system. So there's two options for your water system, and they're both on the machine all the time. So you can either run it through a tank, this 120-gallon tank. The benefit to this is you can put the rust inhibitor directly in there. So that'll pull the water through this pump here, right through this valve, or you can connect directly to a municipal water supply garden hose fitting right here and run it through this fitting as well. So if we come around and just kind of follow this water system around, we've got the inside of the injector here is basically just a pump. So your air comes in the top side, your water comes through the bottom side. This is a 10-to-1 pump. So for every 10 pounds of every pound of pressure here, you get 10 pounds of pressure through the pump.
Okay.
So that's kind of just, there's not a lot to do inside that case. So if you look at how we power the pump, we power it through air.
Okay.
So you'll see here we've got this tees off and comes down to another air supply here. So this is your regulator here. What you're really trying to do here is set your water pressure to be higher than the blast pressure.
All right.
So that blast pressure or that water pressure can inject into the blasting stream. So you'll set that here. I usually set it at 40 and just forget it, because that'll give you 400 psi of water at the nozzle. The other thing that you got here is a ball valve, so you can turn on and off that pump.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to keep on the machine here. I want to switch over to the respirator system. So part of the respirator system, you've got to remove oils and particulates from your airstream, and then you also got to monitor your CO levels. So this here, we've got another air line coming here directly to a CPF filter, and this is what removes those oils and particulates from your airstream. So when you're blasting, you got your respirator on, you want to turn this valve on, and it'll send air to here, which sends air out to your respirator. You've got a regulator here with a gauge. Typically, you're going to be running it at 100 psi, but you'll just want to look at your manual to make sure it varies, depends on which control device you're using and then how long of air hose you're running.
All right.
So always just refer back to the manual on that.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the controls on out to the handle. So we'll go back to the water system here for just a minute. You've got a way to inject water here with this injector, which is connected by two couplings here. You can put that right in between the blast hose and the blast machine, and you can inject your water right there. This needle valve controls your water flow. So basically you'll set it and you'll have water the whole time you're out there. You can also put your water system out to the handle. So this is your water line that's running out to the handle out here. So you can kind of see all your controls here. So you can also put your injector out here. Basically the same setup. Your injector body just threads into your nozzle holder. This gives you control right at your fingertips to turn on, turn off water, adjust the water flow, so you don't have to have somebody back there doing those adjustments for you.
Okay.
Also, on the control side, you've got your dead man handle. So basically this is what starts and stops your blasting. So you'll flip this red lever down and hold it down, and you're blasting. Within the handle, you also have what we call an ACS switch. So this switch, when you turn it back, it'll turn on your abrasive flow. You'll have abrasive. If you want to blow down or wash down the system, you just flip it forward and it'll shut off your abrasive, and you can wash down the system. So the other component to this is your nozzle. And your nozzle really is what dictates your CFM that you need from your compressor, the nozzle size. This one here we're using is a number 7 nozzle. So in there's a nozzle washer. That's a wear component within the system. So you always want to make sure you got that nozzle washer in there as you're blasting. And what that does is just creates a good seal between the nozzle and the nozzle holder, so that nozzle doesn't wear out prematurely on you.
Okay.
So we've got anywhere from 3 up to number 12 nozzles. So
Okay.
we've got a pretty wide range of nozzles. Again, your compressor kind of dictates the size nozzle you can run, because that's what gives you your CFM consumption rate.
All right.
So yeah, typically on these systems, you're going to be running anywhere from a number 5 up to a number 8. One of the great things about working with the Flex is that you can control the water and abrasive flow at the nozzle. This makes it incredibly easy to blast dry, switch to wet, wash down, and blow dry. You can see here the blaster is dry blasting. With just a small adjustment to the needle valve, the operator is blasting wet. It's common when wet blasting for the coating or rust being removed to stick to the surface as you are blasting. So with a flick of the switch at the nozzle, the abrasive flow is stopped and the operator is able to use compressed air and water to wash down the work surface. With the use of a good rust inhibitor, it is usually not necessary, but by turning off the water flow, the work surface can be blown dry with compressed air. And this is why the WetBlast Flex is such a versatile machine.